just answer her final objection. Now, over here, she starts blaspheming our God. She actually starts blaspheming our God.
This takes place after the promise given in Deuteronomy 24 verse 16. Fundamentalists justify the discrepancy by asserting that the past way between himself and his people, as that assertion to be true. Why did Yahweh change his goalpost so frequently in such a small gap in time, which indicates his fluctuating righteousness and mercy?
She's gone about blaspheming God, calling that Yahweh just changes his mind, like how Allah changes his mind within the thing just to suit Muhammad. What, seriously? Just wait how I'm going to attack your gods, you cow worshipper, stone licker, cow licker.
Questioning the Christian claim of moral absolutism. The second example in the category of eternal implications is the giving of 10 commandments. Not one, but two sets of 10 commandments have been given by the Israelite God. Yahweh calls Moses to
Okay, so if you guys know, yeah, Siddharth, she's high on
a mountaintop and dictates to him 10 commandments, which Moses writes on 2 stone tablets. After spending 40 days and 40 nights on this, Moses comes down the mountain and smashes the stone tablets to pieces in anger.
So just take a note. So technically, she's saying that maybe Moses had written 20 commandments, and she makes a stupid claim later, a really stupid claim. I'll come to that claim. But you guys know the story, right? Moses went up to Sinai, he received the law, but besides the law, he also received other commandments from God, which had to do with judicial matters among the Jews and things related to festivals, so on and so forth. And when he comes down, he sees them worshipping a golden calf. And in his anger, he strikes the golden calf with the 10 commandments and he just destroys it. And then again, he goes again on the mountain, asks God for mercy, prays there 40 days and 40 nights, and comes back again with the 10 commandments. And speaking of golden calves, you know that the calf is a young one of a cow. So yeah, I know why you're getting angry about our God, because of what happened over here. You cow licker, calf licker.
Anger at his people because they made an idol and started worshipping it while
Yeah, the same kind of idols you worship and lick. Cows. Seriously.
he was gone. Yahweh then calls him back to the mountaintop, telling him that he will give the same commands that he had given earlier. They spent another 40 days and 40 nights. But Yahweh only manages to keep 2 of the original and replaces 8.
Now she's just an idiot. She's saying that God just manages to keep 2 of the original and he replaces 8 of the 10 commandments. How stupid is that? How stupid is that? And then she misreads Exodus 34, skipping over Exodus 20 to Exodus 31, and she skips over Exodus 12, and then she just comes up with her own headcanon. Seriously.
According to Exodus 20, the traditional 10 are to keep the Sabbath, to not kill, to not steal, etc. In Exodus 34, when Moses is called back, Yahweh replaces 8 of the 10 to include the most bizarre commandments like not sacrificing anything with yeast, like celebrating the festival of unleavened bread, and to not cook baby goats in their mother's milk.
That was blasphemy. Utter blasphemy. After I'm done with this objection, see, I'm just going to destroy your gods.
Apart from the embarrassment to Christians that their God, who they claim is the creator of the universe and the God of all cultures and nations, had nothing more important to instruct man than how to cook livestock and offer the meat to Yahweh and guidelines to observe his festivals, they have Yahweh's inconsistency aspect to account for. The fact that Yahweh changed his mind in just a day about what his chosen race must do to gain his favor indicates the fickle-mindedness of Yahweh.
Oh gosh, this is the height of blasphemies this wicked, satanic, vile whore is going to now.
A fickle-minded being is not worthy of worship.
Okay, just wait after I'm done refuting this objection.
It must be a difficult and an embarrassing task for the apologist to defend this divine goof up of what
Divine goof up my foot.
are alleged to be the most important commandments for mankind. They do it nevertheless by claiming that Yahweh meant to keep both the sets. The first was given as an ethical set and the second as a ritual set.
Tell me, which Christian apologist comes up with these arguments? She say Christian apologists come up with these arguments. Second 10 commandments are for rituals, first 10 commandments are for ethics. Oh gosh, man, seriously. I don't know what to say over here. What's she smoking? Is she high on something?
The Bible itself poses a problem to this assertion. Yahweh explicitly says that the second set in Exodus 34 was going to be a replacement for the first set which Moses broke, not a supplement. He also adds that on these I will establish my covenant with Israel, and that they were the 10 commandments. If Yahweh was going to establish his covenant with Israel on the second set of the commandments, what was the purpose of the first ones? Why waste that much time? As if the leader of the chosen race and the creator of the universe had no better things to do for 80 days and 80 nights. Note that Yahweh does not say that they were the second set of 10 commandments in addition to the previous ones that have been broken. If he had meant to give 20 commandments, shouldn't it have been made popular
She is drunk 20 commandments.
as 20 commandments instead of 10 commandments? By the way, the 10 commandments has a name, and it is Decalogue. Also, if Yahweh meant both the
Oh yeah, no need to show how smart you are just by just knowing that one fact. It's called Decalogue.
sets to be followed, he should have first rewritten the broken set and then added the second set to it. But none of this happens. Ironically, a large section of Christians is blissfully unaware of there being two sets of 10 commandments. Another major discrepancy in the category of eternal implications is about how salvation is attained.
I've refuted this objection on how salvation is attained in part 1b of the video. I'll just go to refuting this objection of hers, and then let's have some pot shots at her Hindu deities. All right. So, okay, give me a second. All right, so I'll just go a little bit behind.
In Exodus 34, when Moses is called back, Yahweh replaces 8 of the 10 to include the most bizarre commandments like not sacrificing anything with yeast.
Okay, now not sacrificing anything with yeast. She's saying Exodus 34. Okay, let's go to Exodus 34. It does say that. It does say that. I can agree to that point. But let's read Exodus 34 in context. So Exodus 34, and the Lord said to Moses, cut 2 tablets of stones like the first ones, and I will write on these tablets the words that were on the first tablets which you broke. So the same words. He's saying the same words which were on the first tablets which you broke. So be ready in the morning and come up in the morning to Mount Sinai and present yourself to me there on the top of the mountain. And no man shall come up with you, and let no man be seen throughout all the mountain. Let neither flocks nor herds feed before that mountain. So he cut the 2 tablets of stone like the first ones. Then Moses rose early in the morning and went up to Mount Sinai as the Lord had commanded him. And he took in his hand the 2 tablets of stone. And the Lord descended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of the Lord. And the Lord passed before him and proclaimed, the Lord, the God, the merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abounding in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgressions and sin, by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and the children's children to the 3rd and the 4th generation. So here the Lord is just greeting Moses. Is he giving him a commandment? No. He's just greeting Moses over here. So Moses made haste and bowed his head towards the earth and worshipped. And he said, If I have now found grace in your sight, O Lord, let my Lord, I pray, go among us, even though we are stiff-necked. Now, stiff-necked meaning to say a stubborn, rebellious people, and pardon our iniquity and our sin, and take us as your inheritance. So Moses is interceding for the people for the sin of their golden calf. And then he's just reiterating his covenant over here, the Lord. The covenant renewed. It's just saying the covenant has been renewed. Okay. So he's just kind of saying certain things which he had repeated before, but he's not saying like these are the 10 commandments. You have to write them again, which is kind of like really dumb. Behold, I make a covenant before all your people. I'll do marvels such as have not been done in the earth, nor in any nation, and all the people among you shall see the work of the Lord, for it is an awesome thing I will do with you. Observe that I command you this day. Behold, I am driving out from before you the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Hittite and the Perizzite and the Hivite and the Jebusite. Take heed to yourself, lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land where you are going, lest it be a snare in your midst. But you shall destroy their altars, break their sacred pillars, and cut down their wooden images. For you shall worship no other God, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous God, lest you. Now, if you see over here, she's thinking that these are the 10 commandments all over again, but God is just talking in this context about what these guys should be doing after this. He's not talking about the 10 commandments in general. He's just repeating some things which he has said before, and I'll prove it by using previous chapters of Exodus. I'll come to that. Okay. Lest you make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land and they play the harlot with their gods. Now, this is again spiritual, prostitution. That if the people, start worshipping the gods in the lands and make sacrifices to their gods, and any one of them invites you and eats of the sacrifice, and you take off his daughters for your sons and his daughters, you play the spiritual whore with their gods and make your sons play the whore with their gods. You shall not make no golden works for yourself. Now, this feast of unleavened bread you shall keep. Now, you can see very specifically he's giving them certain other laws, but he's not telling Moses to write these laws on the 10 stone tablets. All right. 7 days you shall eat unleavened bread as I commanded you. So, unleavened bread means bread without yeast. Okay. In the appointed time of the month for Abib, for in the month of Abib you came out from Egypt. That is the first month of the Jewish calendar. They come out from Egypt. Okay. So, that's how they tie their Jewish calendar. Okay, so now these laws which he's talking about, they were done earlier. Okay, so I was talking about the unleavened bread, so I'll just come to Exodus 12. I think I'll just stick to the NIV version for now, although I just don't like it so much. Let's go to Exodus NIV. Just look for the word yeast. There you go. So this is Exodus 12, people. He's just reiterating what he did in Exodus 12. And if you see this, he's just talking about the covenant which was renewed, which he had made earlier. He's not explicitly just talking about the 10 commandments. As simple as that. That same night you are to eat the meat roasted over the fire along with the bitter herbs and bread without yeast. Okay? Do not leave any of it till morning. If some of it is left till morning, you must burn it. This is how you are to eat it, with your cloak tied. So he's just talking about the Lord's Passover over there. Okay. This is a day you are to commemorate for the generations to come. You shall celebrate it as a festival of the Lord, a lasting ordinance. So for 7 days you are to eat bread without yeast, and the first day remove the yeast. So he's just saying the same thing which he said in Exodus 12, which they have to do as remembrance about them coming out of Egypt. And this person, Esther Dhanrajs, is going about saying that, nah, Yahweh changed his mind in the day and he's just making up new rules. Wow, what an idiot. Okay, now what the second objection he's saying? 6 days you shall work, but on the 7th day you shall rest. In plowing time and harvest you shall rest. That's okay. He's again just reiterating the covenant. He's not reiterating the 10 commandments. Now, all these passages over here, they are there in Exodus. If you read all the way from Exodus 17 to Exodus 31, you'll see them. Okay, he's just summarizing the covenant which he had made earlier over here. That's about it. Okay, now what is that thing about? Okay, she was talking about cows and sheep and goats, right? About in their mother's milk, where she was blaspheming God. Okay, what was that passage again? Exodus 23. Yeah, that was again Exodus 23, which is again before Exodus 34 and before Moses broke the first set of 10 commandments. Okay, so Exodus 24, I think, see, again, he's talking about the annual festivals they have to keep, again in Exodus 24. This is the same thing Yahweh keeps repeating again and again. Oh no, JDR 353, she'll never come for a debate. She'll never come for a debate. See, 3 times a year, all men are to appear before the sovereign Lord. I just read that out again in Exodus 34. So God is just giving Moses the summary of the covenant and just renewing it. She's such a stupid idiot. And here, do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. There you go. Do not cook a young goat in his mother's milk. Bring the first fruits to your soil. So technically, he's just spouting out those commandments. Okay, the first fruits of the land you shall bring to the house of the Lord. You shall not boil a young goat in its mother's milk. So as I mentioned, there you go. Do not offer the sacrifice of the blood, the fat of the festivals. Bring the best of the first fruits of your soil to the house of the Lord your God. Seriously. Then write these words, for according to the tenor of these words I've made a covenant with you and Israel. Okay, so now these words which he's talking about is the book which Moses is writing, the Torah. Okay, parts of Exodus over here concerning the laws, Exodus, and later on Leviticus and Deuteronomy. And now in chapter 28, so he was there with the Lord 40 days and 40 nights. Moses neither ate bread nor drank water. And then he wrote on the tablets the words of the covenant, the 10 commandments. So you can see the difference over here. All right, so now I'll just come to other passages to refute this idiot, to just say that those are the same 10 commandments. Let's go to Deuteronomy 5 next. Yeah, right. Them and their million-headed serpents, they're gods, so-called gods. So Deuteronomy 5, I'll have to scroll down a bit. The 10 commandments reviewed. Now Moses is here, Deuteronomy 5. The entire book of Deuteronomy is Moses standing before the promised land, giving his farewell address to Israel. Okay, and just summarizing what all has happened. So here he's again talking about the 10 commandments, Deuteronomy. And Moses called Israel and said to him, Hear, O Israel, the statutes and judgments which I speak in your hearing today, that you may learn them to be careful to observe them. The Lord our God made a covenant with us in Horeb, that is Sinai. The Lord did not take this covenant with our fathers, but with us who are here today. Okay, all of us who are alive. The Lord talked with you face to face on the mountain from the midst of the fire. I stood between the Lord and you at that time to declare to you the word of the Lord. You're afraid because of the fire and did not go to the mountain, he said. And here, Moses is again talking about the 10 commandments. I'm the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself a carved image, any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow them or serve them. So he talks about all the commandments. I won't go through it again. He talks about the Sabbath. He's talking about not taking the name of the Lord your God in vain. 6 days you shall labor, do all your work, 7 days for Sabbath. Honor your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife, and you shall not despise your neighbor's house as field. Desire your neighbor's house as field, his male servant, his female servant, his ox, donkey, or anything that's your neighbor's. These words the Lord spoke to you, all your assembly in the mountain from the midst of the fire, the cloud, and the thick darkness with a loud voice, and he added no more. There you go. He added no more. Okay. And he wrote them on 2 tablets of stone and gave them to me. All right. And then Moses goes on to say that he had to end up destroying that thing. So I'll just go to Deuteronomy chapter 9 next. Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 9, and it's about, verses 10. So he's talking about what happened to the original commandments. When I went up into the mountain to receive the tablets of stone, the tablets of the covenant which the Lord made with you, then I stayed on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights, and neither ate bread nor drank water. Then the Lord delivered me to be 2 tablets of stone written with the finger of God, and on them were all the words which the Lord had spoken to you on the mountain from the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly. And it came to pass at the end of the 40 days and nights, the Lord gave me the 2 tablets of stone, the tablets of the covenant. Okay. So then he talks about him destroying it. I'll go to Deuteronomy 10 next. The second pair of tablets. At that time the Lord said to me, hew for yourself 2 tablets of stones like the first, and come to me on the mountain and make yourself an ark of wood. And I'll write on the tablets the words that were on the first tablets which you broke, and you shall put them in the ark. There you go. Again, double testimony, double confirmation in Deuteronomy, when Moses is summarizing what happened in Exodus, all the way from Exodus 20 to Exodus 34. So I made an ark of acacia wood, hewed 2 tablets of stone like the first, and went up the mountain, having the 2 tablets in the hand. And he wrote on the tablets, according to the first writing, the 10 commandments which the Lord had spoken to you in the mountain from the midst of the fire in the day of the assembly, and the Lord gave them to me. End of topic. All right. Satanic, vile, wicked liar. All right, so now let's have some more fun now at Her Gods. I'll just drop a link here into this thing. Just tell me once you get that link. Did you get that link, guys? I've just dropped it in the chat, and I'll just drop another link. Just a second, guys. And you should thank some people for giving me this material against Hinduism. You should thank this guy Gopal, who is running this ministry called as Yeshua Apologetics. He's a Hindu convert. He's a Hindu convert to Christianity. All right. He's barely 18 years old, and he knows heaps of stuff. I actually learned a lot from him. And then there's another Indian apologetics channel called as Gnani's World, GNISAS. They have a Discord server, and on that server, they also have a channel, a YouTube channel. You'll get all this kind of material to refute Hinduism. Okay. All right. So I'll just drop the other link. Just a second. And here we go. Okay. So now let's get to those links. Now let's look at the first link. So this is about their Sanatan Dharma. Can you see the link? That is the Brahma, one of their supreme gods, according to the Hindu school of Sanatan Dharma, which itself is can be falsified even within the realm of Hinduism. I'll talk about that later, maybe in an upcoming video, God willing. Okay. One of the most important gods of Hinduism, I'll just increase the font size for people's benefit. One of the most important gods of Hinduism, or Sanatan Dharma variant of Hinduism, that's mainstream Hinduism, is Brahma, who is the grand creator of the universe and the one who gave Vedas to humans. But can a god lust for his own daughter and another god's wife? Okay. So, daughter. Once on an occasion, the Prajapati Brahma, on seeing his daughter, became passionate and was ready to hold sexual intercourse with her. At this, the 6 sons laughed at him. Brahma cursed them, saying, "You all go quickly and take your birth in the wombs of the Asuras." And this is the source, Srimad Dev Bhagavatam, Devi Purana, chapter 22, verse number 9. I could also link you to the source. Just give me a second. So where is StreamYard gone? The StreamYard. Just put this here. Yeah, Ahmad Ghani. These guys make Momo look like a good guy, man. Muhammad looks like a good guy, to be really honest. Now let's look at another source translated by another scholar. Afterwards, the creator, seeing that form of exquisite beauty, was fired with love and repeatedly uttered, "What an enchanting form!" At this, the Manasa Putras, now these Manasa Putras, meaning again to say these sons of Brahmas, whom he created using his mind of Brahma, that is Vasistha and company, taking Savitri for their sister, began to express their feelings of seething indignation and contempt at the attitude of their father, Lord Brahma. But he was so much absorbed in love that he did heed anything in the least. Brahma continued uttering, "Oh, what an enchanting form," about this entity called as Savitri, a woman, another goddess. "Oh, what an enchanting form," for his love for the goddess Savitri, and the latter, after saluting him, began to what's this word? Circumambulate. Yeah, circumambulate, meaning to say circle around him in reverence. So she started circling around him in reverence. Okay. Brahma fixed his gaze on Savitri and could not distract himself from her. This is their supreme god, folks. As she was circling around him, he felt shy of turning his head each time to her direction, as his Mansa Putras, that is his sons, were standing close by. See, what a vile, wicked beast. He therefore created 4 heads, okay, each pointing to a direction in order that he may see, each pointing to a direction in order that he may see Savitri undisturbed without having to turn his head each time in course of her circling. See, what a bastard. This is their supreme god. Seeing Brahma in such a condition, Satarupi went to heaven with the Manas sons of the creator, that is the Manas Putras. Putras means sons, that is the sons of Brahma. And as she was traveling towards heaven, Brahma put on a 5th head. This guy makes Muhammad sound like an amateur, man. Right on top, which afterwards he covered with long matted hair. Oh wow, he puts a 5th head and covers it with long hair. So people can't infer that he's looking at her. This is how Brahma came to have 5 heads. Brahma, fired with passion in her company, married Satarupa, and Satarupa meaning to say 7 forms, and began to pass his days in enjoyments inside a lotus. He enjoyed the company of Savitri for 100 years, and after a long time, Manu was born to them. Manu thus born was Svarambhu Munu, who, owing to his close affinity to Brahma, is also called Adipurna, the first man. Okay, now Manu means man, mankind. And see, this is kind of a perverted version of Adam, Adipurna, the first man. Now, Adipurna, meaning to say we have a derivative in like Urdu called as the word as say, you could say Adami. Adami means Adami or the spawn of Adam. That's what we call men in Hindi, Urdu languages. And you could see that this is a stolen version of the Christian story and they have perverted it to their own thing. And here's the source, guys. Matsya Purana section 3, translated by various Sanskrit scholars. It's translated by various Sanskrit scholars, edited by B.D. Basus. Okay. And I'll drop you the source over here as well. Okay. Let's go to StreamYard. Yep, that's cracked discount cookie and added through that. Still not satisfied. Okay, let's see another book. His transcendental value is not to be minimized. Oh, you guys would have heard this stupid word, transcendental meditation. Even though Brahma exhibited a tendency to enjoy his own daughter, there is a purpose for the exhibition of such a tendency by Brahma, and he is not to be condemned like an ordinary living entity. Support on Srimad Bhagavatam 3.12.48 by Swami Prabhusada, and that's the source for this as well. This verse also works as a defense of Brahma action, but a detailed defense of Brahma action is given section 4 of the Matsya Purana. The defense raises many serious questions, but first the defense. Okay, I'll just drop this source in as well. There we go. This is how disgusting and filthy Hinduism is, guys. And to tell you the truth, the average Hindu which you see, they are this ignorant about their scripture. They don't know anything about their scripture. They will just ask their priests and their witch doctors and all these sages to perform their rituals, and that too in Sanskrit, a language which they themselves don't understand. And they just blindly follow their rituals without question. At least you could say Muslims are smarter than them. It's that bad, it's that terrible, and that vile and satanic. Okay, sorry. Where am I here? Back here. That is Discord, by the way. Okay, source of Matsya Purana given above. This explanation arises following questions. The above passage tells us that God does not come under the karmic law so that they can. Now, you know karma, right? Your good deeds versus your bad deeds. Okay. So they can do proper or improper things. But the moral law humans follow comes from God. Now, you remember that she was talking about absolute morality argument coming from Christianity. Oh, yeah. You guys are using the same argument over here, which you are saying is coming from your God, bitch. But God Himself can do moral or immoral things, although He does give the moral law. Oh, wow. That's an inconsistent God. So, why should somebody follow a law given by somebody who doesn't follow it and can go against of it, but will judge you according to it? Tell me. This is not Jesus who came down to fulfill the law, who lived by the law, who fulfilled the law entirely to the letter, and therefore He can judge us by it, being man and God. In section 4 of Matsya Purana, source given above, we read that the children of Brahma were allowed to marry in their parental circle. Yuck! O Master of the Universe, by graciously explaining to me why the offspring of Brahma were allowed to intermarry in their paternal circle without any regard for close-knit kinship. Part 2, Shiva's wife. Now he's coveting the wife of another god, Shiva. Just watch this. Shiva and Sati's marriage is taking place. This is the context. My mind being afflicted by love, I started at the limbs of Sati. O excellent Brahmin, I was deluded by Shiva's Maya. The more I stared at the beautiful limbs of Sati eagerly, the more I became thrilled like a love-afflicted man. Staring thus at the chaste daughter of Daksha and being afflicted by the Cupid, O sage, I craved to see her Sati's face. Since she was bashful in the presence of Shiva, I could not see her face. She did not show out her face on account of shyness. Then I began to consider proper means whereby I could see the face. Oh boy, this is their supreme god. Oh boy. Afflicted much by the Cupid, I pitched upon the production of airful smoke as the means thereof. I put many wet twigs into the fire. Only very little ghee did I pour into the fire. Much smoke arose out of the fire from the wet twigs, so much so that darkness enveloped the whole altar ground and the neighborhood. Then Lord Shiva, the supreme god, indulged in many sports, covered his eyes, apparently afflicted by smoke. Then, O sage, now here comes the fun part. Then, O sage, afflicted by the Cupid and delighted in the heart of hearts, I lifted her veil and stared into the face of Sati. This is Brahma saying this. I looked at the face of Sati many a time. I was helpless in curbing the onset of a sensuous orgasm. Orgasm. I mean, it's orgasm over here. It's not organism. 4 drops of my semen. Oh my gosh, Viral got displaced and fell to the ground like drops of dew as a result of staring into her face. Just imagine this guy ejaculated just by of looking into the face of the wife of another god. This god did that. Oh sage, when I was stunned into silence, I was surprised. I became suspicious. I covered up the semen drops lest anyone should see them. Sound familiar? It sounds like Muhammad now, doesn't it? All these wicked satanic cults, same thing. Even if you're talking about the Greek mythology, same thing. If you're talking about Roman gods, the same thing. The same fake religions everywhere. Go to South America, you'll find the same thing was being practiced among the Aztecs: child sacrifice, human sacrifice, and all these things. And they'll blame the Catholic Church for being oppressive towards them. Please, please. If the colonists didn't go over there, they would have been eating us for dinner. Shiva Purana Rudra, Samhita chapter 19, verse 18 to 29, translated by Jail Sastri source. Here's the reason of this act is given: Shiva Maya. But now can a god come under the influence of another god's power, and so much that he'll drop his semen? The question I asked in part 1 also implies over here. My advice to you: download the Bible app and start reading the New Testament. May the Lord of heaven and earth, Jesus Christ, show you the way. I'll drop the source and I'll even do Shiva. All right? And then we'll just close off for the day. After that, here's the source here. There you go. And that Shiva article that given before. Let's come over here. I think this material is on Jnani's World. Yeah, Jnani's World. And we have quite some articles over here concerning their Hindu gods. I'm yet to do Krishna. That guy was a playboy. He's the playboy of Hinduism, Krishna. All right. And you have all these filthy, vile Christ mythos and these bastards trying to compare Jesus with Krishna. That Jesus is a copycat savior. He's just based on the Hindu god Krishna. And they just draw all kinds of stupid, false parallels. Seriously. Okay, we'll just go to Shiva. I dropped the link before. I'll just drop it again in the chat. Shiva, a god with the problem of lust, and the mystery of Shivlingam. Okay, now let's see the Shivlingam, the stone which Hindus call as sacred. Okay, yeah, nothing different. You had the stone liquors among the Mohammedans. And if you read Acts of the Apostles, chapter 19, you could see that people used to worship a meteor stone which came from the sky, which they said belonged to the goddess Artemis or the Roman counterpart Diana. And then they started persecuting Saint Paul because he convinced the people to stop worshipping these things and to worship Jesus, the one true God. So yeah, stone licking, it's been happening since God knows when. So Islam is actually nothing new. Okay, now all the verses to this article are taken only from Hindu Sanskrit scholar translations, okay? Some scholars have uses 18 plus language. Oh yeah, did you know Ahmad Ghani? Ram had married Sita when she was 6 years old. I just kind of discovered that fact yesterday. Ram was 14, Sita was 6. So this is again coming from Hindu scholars' translations who are writing this article. Source of every piece of information is provided as before. Part 1, lust. Lust is always seen as an immoral feeling, no matter which worldview you belong to. But our moral framework comes from God. What if God himself lusts? When Sati, the wife of Shiva, left off her mortal coil, Mahadeva, though he could remove the sorrows of all, was very much moved with passion and greatly afflicted. Then, being burnt very much, as it were, by the fire of passion, he threw himself down into the water of the river Kalandi, and the water of that river became black-colored, as if burnt by the burning fire of the sorrows of Shiva. O king, when Mahadev, being infatuated with Kama, went into the forest of Brigu and becoming naked, began to copulate. So, you know what's copulate? It means intercourse. The ascetic Brigu, seeing him in that state, now this ascetic, you know, these guys, the sage or so-called quote-unquote holy men, seeing Shiva in that state, exclaimed, "Oh, you are very shameless," and cursed him thus, "Let your penis drop off just now, Mahadev." Mahadev meaning to say great God. That's what it means. That's what he was calling Shiva. Then, to satisfy his thirst for passion, began to drink the water of the lake Amrita Vapi, dug by the Dhanrajs. Yuck. Chapter 20, verse 34 to 37, the Srimad Dev Bhagavatam, translated by Swami Vijayananda. Source. And who's translating it their own people. Please note, all this happened after Shiva's beloved wife died and he was not able to control his urges. And other words on Shiva's lust problem. Before that, I'll just drop you the source for this one. And here we go. Let's get back here. So here's another verse on Shiva's lust problem. We had Muhammad, but Hindus, I don't know, we just can't stop attacking their gods, to be really honest, because they have so many thousands of gods with so many problems, and yet they dare attack the Bible. Filthy cowards. Lord Shiva, his good sense taken away by the woman because of lusty desires to enjoy with her, became so mad for her that even in the presence of Bhavani, he did not hesitate to approach her. Now, Bhavani is another goddess, by the way. The beautiful woman was already naked, and when she saw Lord Shiva coming towards her, she became extremely bashful. Thus she kept smiling, but she hid herself among the trees and did not stand in one place. His senses being agitated, Lord Shiva, victimized by lusty desires, began to follow her. Yuck! This is their god. Just as a lusty elephant follows a she-elephant, after following her with great speed, Lord Shiva caught her by the braid of her hair and dragged her near him. Although she was unwilling, he embraced her with her arms. Their god is a rapist. Their god is a rapist. Being embraced by Lord Shiva like a female elephant, embraced by a male woman, by a male, the woman whose hair was scattered swirled like a snake. O king, this woman who had large, high hips. This pretty much sounds like a porn show, to tell you the truth. Was a woman of Yoga Maya presented by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this is their scripture, guys. These are their gods. She released herself somehow or other from the fond embrace of Lord Shiva's arms and ran away. As if harassed by an enemy in the form of lusty desires, Lord Shiva followed the path of Lord Vishnu, who acts very wonderfully and who had taken the form of a Mohini, just as a maddened bull elephant follows a female elephant who is able to conceive pregnancy. Lord Shiva followed the beautiful woman and discharged semen, even though his discharge of semen never goes in vain. O king, wheresoever on the surface of the globe fell the semen of the great personality of Lord Shiva, mines of gold and silver later appeared. So what they are saying is, wherever Shiva's semen falls on the ground, mines of gold and silver appear. What the heck is this, people? Seriously. They make Muhammad sound like the guy next door. Srimad Bhagavatam 8:12-25-3, translated by Swami Prabhupada, another one of their scholars. Click on the arrow. I can just keep giving you sources anyway. I'll put the sources later in the description box after this recording is done. Okay, now the Shivlinga. This is the stone that they worship. Shiva is often worshipped in lingam or the penis form. That's the Shivlinga, that stone, which commonly is called Shivling or Shivlingam. For historical proof, you can search early Shivling in Google search here. A general theory is that due to British and the mob, modestly they introduced the shape and design of the Shivling was changed. So let's see what does this Google search say. Yeah, this is the Google search. Yuck. That is what they say was the actual Shivlingam. Okay, but now the Shivlingam which we see, its shape has changed, and now they want to claim that the British changed the shape. The scripture proof is given below. The story is same with minor variations in different Puranas. Now, Puranas are also a set of Hindu scriptures, and they are among some of the most authoritative set of scriptures, by the way, the Puranas in Hinduism. Once the leading Brahmin devotees of Shiva, engrossed in the meditation of Shiva, went into the forest for bringing sacrificial twigs. In the meantime, Shiva himself, assuming a very hideous form, came in there to test their devotion. Okay, he was very brilliant but stark naked again. Seriously, man. He had smeared ashes all over his body as the sole ornament. Standing there and holding his penis, he began to show all sorts of vicious tricks. Oh my gosh. It was with a mind to do something pleasing to the forest dwellers that Shiva, favorite of the devotees, came to the forest at his will. The wives of the sages were extremely frightened at this sight, so naturally they saw this naked Shiva with ash all over his body, performing some hocus pocus with his penis. God knows what. The other women, excited and surprised, approached the Lord. Some embraced him. Yuck. Others held his hands. The women were engrossed and struggling with one another. Meanwhile, the great sages came there. On seeing him engaged in perverse activities, they were pained and infuriated. So he's here screwing around with the sages' wives. And then they came over there and they saw that their great god whom they worship is doing this. Yes, JDR. Doesn't this topic sound familiar? You have Muhammad who was doing the same things with the Muslims, okay, when they used to go for jihad and asking women and all these kind of things. The sages, deluded by Shiva's maya and plunged in grief, began to say, "Who is this? Who is this?" because Shiva had taken another form. When the naked sage did not reply, the great sages told a terrible Purasa, "You are acting pervertedly. This violates the Vedic path. Hence, let your penis fall on the ground." When they said thus, the penis of that Avaduta was Shiva of wonderful form fell down instantly. That penis burnt everything in front wherever it went. They had to burn everything there. Oh boy, it went to Patala, it went to heaven, it went all over the earth. It never remains steady anywhere. What the heck? All the worlds and the people were distressed. The sages became grief stricken. Whether gods or sages, no one had any peace or joy. All the gods and sages who did not recognize Shiva became sad. They assembled together and hastened to Brahma and sought refuge in him. O Brahmins, after going there, they bowed to and eulogized Brahma. Now, this Brahma, that other pervert god I talked to you about, heard them. He realized that they had been deluded by Shiva's Maya. After bowing to Shiva, he told the excellent Brahma sages, said, "O Brahmins, you thought wise do such despicable things. Then why complain against the ignorant who act likewise? Who can wish for happiness after offending and antagonizing Shiva? Thus, if a person does not welcome and serve a guest at midday, his virtue is taken away by the guest who in return deposits his sin to him. What then of Shiva himself as a guest? As long as the penis does not become stationary, there cannot be anything good in these three worlds. I'm telling you the truth, O sages, you must do such things as will make the penis of Shiva steady. Please ponder over this in your minds. Thus urged the sages bowed to Brahma and said, O Brahma, what shall be done by us? Please guide us in that task. So now these sages are going to Brahma to stop Shiva's penis. When the great sages asked him thus, Brahma, the grandfather of the world, spoke to them. Brahma said, "Let the gods propitiate goddess Parvati and pray. If she can assume the form of a vaginal passage, that penis will become steady." Oh my goodness gracious. It just keeps getting worse, guys. Tell me now, what is worse, Hinduism or Islam? On the flip side, 99% of your Hindus don't know all this, to be really honest. They just don't know their scripture. Oh, excellent sages, listen. I shall tell you the mode of procedure. Act accordingly with love and devotion. She will thus be thus pleased. Make an 8-petaled mystic diagram of lotus and place a hot over it. Water from holy center shall be poured into the pot along with the sprouts of durva and barley. The pot shall be invoked with Vedic mantras, that is Vedic chants. It shall be worshipped according to the Vedic rituals after remembering Shiva. The penis shall be drenched with that water. O great sages, when the sprinkling is made with Sata Rudriya mantras, it will become unstable. Parvati in the form of the vaginal passage and an auspicious. Now, Parvati is another goddess. Parvati, another goddess in the form of the vaginal passage and auspicious arrow shall form as the pedestal wherein the phallus or the penis shall be installed in accompaniment of the Vedic mantras. And here's the source. Okay, I'll drop the source. All these books, guys, you buy, you guys will just be able to eat this nonsense which they call as a god. Seriously, they call these people as gods. I read the questions I have. I read the whole chapter. Nowhere was I able to find what was the test. Also, God created gender, male and female. Why would God ever need male sex organs? Moreover, are not gods omniscient? And if Shiva is God and God is omniscient, then he would be knowing that all this would happen. Why would God need his male sex organ if he had any to fall off? Also, imagine the God you're worshipping coming in front of you naked. Moreover, how can a human being curse God? So over here, the sages were cursing God. Another story. Okay, so this is Sanskrit, but I can read it. But I think we have done enough for the day. I don't want to go further. All right. So I'll just stop sharing. So, all right. I hope you guys have been blessed, people. Hope this was an edifying session. You got to learn a thing or two about Hinduism, but more importantly, I hope you learn some arguments how to defend these passages. Watch that part again and again, make them second nature, and this is how you can refute them. Once again, God bless all of you. Prayers for all of you, all your intentions, and please keep me in your prayers as well. All right. So, catch you later again, God willing, and have a great weekend, folks. God bless you all.